Thank you, Michael. Welcome, everyone. Going back through last week's game with West Virginia, again, really pleased with our team ability to, just play a really solid game throughout the day. We had a good, strong lead in the first half, up 24-7, and then they come back a little bit at the start of the second half, and then we were able to again regroup and take back control of the game against a good football team. I again compliment Dana Holgerson, his staff, and team. They got a lot of really good players. They play with a lot of attitude, and believe they're going to continue to go on through the year and have a really good year. Guys, for us, I thought offensively, the way they defend you have to make some big plays, beat coverage, and I thought Baker put some great deep balls in some great spots, and our receivers, got open, made some big plays, and several of them, and that was a big part of the game. Joe Mixon with one long run. Still feel we can continue to run the football better, and believe we will as we go. But again, the way they stunt so much in their 3-3 defense, there's you're going to have some poor plays, but you got to be able to capitalize and make some big plays like we did. Defensively, I thought we were really exceptional with all the big plays. Eric Stryker was just sensational with 13 tackles and couple of sacks and forced fumble for a touchdown, on and on. I think he had 3 other tackles for loss. Really played great, along with other guys. Jordan Thomas had a couple of picks, really, and covered well all day. The other guys, those 2 were players of the game, along with Matt Diamond and Jordan Evans. Those 4 guys were players of the game. But again, really made a lot of big plays, very disruptive, and they had a hard time throwing the football with the coverage, and we chased them around most of the day. I thought Austin Seibert, again, was excellent punting the football and with all his kicks. Really had another great day. He and Eric Stryker was also a special teams player of the game with a couple of great tackles down there covering on punts. Leads us into going down to the Cotton Bowl again here with Texas, as we do every year. We are really focused on, very aware of the tough schedule. Was probably the most that's overlooked in regard to Texas and where they're at right now. They have, their 4 losses are to 4 ranked teams. I believe it was just pointed out to me that those 4 teams are 19-1. So they have probably played the toughest schedule to this point of anybody in the country. So, and with a couple of really tight losses with Cal and Oklahoma State. So we understand, they'll work hard and they'll play hard. They're good. There's a lot of great football players out there as you watch them and you put on the tape. I know Coach Strong and his staff do an excellent job. So we've got to keep preparing to be our best. We're not even 5 games into it, so we got to really push to make our improvement. I'm still really angry at our team, disappointed on our lack of discipline. We got way too many foolish penalties that will hurt us. We continue to have 2 turnovers a game, which can't happen, and so we've got to do some things really across the board in every area to get better. And that's what we're going to really focus on this week. And as we keep moving forward, better teams, as you get better as they go through the season. And we've got to keep, pushing for improvement and really in every area that we have. So that's what our focus will be on here leading into this rivalry game going down to Texas.
What's your injury situation?
I believe Stan Von Taylor will be out. Believe everybody else has a good chance to play, and so we'll see. As we go through the week, everybody else really checked out in the training room fairly well yesterday.
Bob, how much has it really helped your secondary to be a year older? All of them talk about the game slowed down for them.
Well, I've said that a lot already this year. It's a major difference. Experience matters, especially at this age. Young guys that are now a year older, most college young guys don't. Don't stay the same. I mean, from freshman to senior year, they change drastically, and from year to year, there's usually, the more experience you gain strength, they gain speed, they gain understanding, and they play better. And these guys are doing that, and they have a lot more experience now.
Does it seem like this is a bunch of guys that will listen to you in terms of realizing how big a preparation it is and that you've
Absolutely.
got to be ready?
Yeah, they have been nothing but that so far, so I don't expect it to change all of a sudden in 1 week. They're very aware of, in fact, Ty stopped by my office yesterday and was reminiscing just on 2 years ago and how bad they beat us down there 2 years ago. So we're all very aware of it.
As a head coach, is this a time where you are concerned about your team's mental makeup because you won 2 games, you've looked really good doing it, you get ranked in the top 10, you have a bunch of players that probably feel like they're starting to arrive a little bit?
Well, it shouldn't be hard to remind them of what's been said about them for the last year. So if they have any sense at all, they'll understand that. And now only 5 games in or 4 games through that we haven't done anything yet. So we've got to keep moving forward.
Bob, if you put your finger on, you played so well in the Cotton Bowl so long, so often, but the last 2 years you won one of them, but you didn't play well, particularly well in one of those games either year. So if you put your finger on sort of the slump of playing well down there?
Well, I thought we played well last year. I mean, they get a late score, but we're in good position and also I disagree with you there, but they're and a year ago they're good the way they were playing. How can you say a win isn't playing well? I don't get that, so.
You got a big kickoff return, a big interception return, and that.
Well, those usually you're going to lose when those things happen.
But in terms of the general, how you want to play in a game.
And the year before when they won, they had an interception return for a touchdown. They had a punt return for a touchdown. So similarly, turnovers are always a major factor in this game. But no, there's nothing I can put my finger on. No, outside of playing well and not playing well.
2 weeks into the season, we're all praising your defense for the effort at Tennessee. Week 3, everybody's ready to junk it in the dumpster. Week 4, it looks like more what we saw at Tennessee. How do you kind of, put your finger on it or reconcile what, ups and downs? And I know there's a lot that goes into it, but.
Yeah, there's a lot that goes into it, and you're all smart enough to. I don't have to point out everything. You're fair. You could size up some of it.
Last year with some of the offensive struggles, how key was it to have that Alex Ross kickoff return and Zach Sanchez interception?
Yeah, they were a big spark. Those are when you get special teams touchdowns and turnovers for touchdowns, they make a big difference.
Bob, can you talk about Devontae Bond, and you say you're kind of hoping everyone does play. He would be pretty important, I would think, against Hurd, and if he isn't able to go, what you do there with that position?
Well, we've got multiple options. We've got multiple defenses we can play. We've got also Obo's really, I feel, in a position to play and play well. He had a bad mistake the other day, but everything we've seen of him in practice, he's making a lot. He's playing a lot more consistently and playing well for us. So we'd have confidence to go with him as well.
He didn't have a lot of success against TCU, I know, but it seems as if Hurd has given that offense a bit of a spark since he's taken over as quarterback down there.
He has. He's a really exceptional player, exceptional athlete. When you watch him, he throws a nice ball, he runs. So we're very aware of how talented he is, and we'll have to play well against him.
How similar is he to what he does to the kid at Tennessee, and the kind of way you have to defend him?
Oh, there's some similarities. It's probably a fair comparison, but offenses are a little different too. But they also have some similarities, in what they do.
Oh, sorry about you said you were upset about or still angry about your team's lack of discipline at West Virginia. How do you go about correcting that for Texas this week?
Well, more than anything, it's their discipline. The players taking an attitude that they're going to do things the right way. And if I have one beef with our guys, it's that. You know, they've got to have a mindset to do things right and to have discipline in it. And you know, hopefully they will.
Is Baker's leadership different than your previous quarterbacks?
In a lot of, not really, in that he does 95% of it by example and by his play and competitiveness as he plays. And we've had a lot of guys that are at that position that have been exceptionally good and competitive. They just show it differently. And, you know, Baker's just a little more enthusiastic when he runs in the end zone to congratulate somebody. But outside of that in our building, it's not all that, you know, that different. He's, you know, so I think his example, as much as anything, is similar to the other successful guys we've had.
When you say doing things the right way, you're talking about player discipline. Are you talking about the penalties?
Yeah.
Or does it go beyond that, additional things?
No, it's penalties. That's what I'm upset about. And again, just hand placement and a lot of foolish decisions. And you know, it's bad football.
Were those, you know, there were a lot of penalties, obviously. Were they all good calls that you know of? I mean, you file your report, send it to the conference office. Do you have anything to complain about?
No, we earned them. So.
How do you deal with not allowing a team to get inside your team's head, though? And especially, you've got a rivalry game coming up against Texas. How do you deal with that part of it?
Again, they got to have enough discipline and self-control. You know, I'm not playing. I'm not the one out there making those penalties. They know what's right and wrong, and they choose to do it wrong. That's on them, and it's bad football.
You guys have obviously practiced running the Belldozer. Have you spent much time defending it over the years?
Oh yeah, you know, everybody has some of that anymore. You know, we were aware of Tennessee ran the quarterback, you know, an awful lot. So we're always working it.
How closely have you studied the Texas TCU film and how that got away from them so fast?
I've studied it. You know, TCU made some big plays on offense and got you know, played really good defense, you know, to get them off the field and keep giving themselves opportunities.
Notice any bad body language by Texas?
No.
How close are you on your kick return, breaking a couple? You know, Alex looked like he had a couple of good runs. So you getting closer there?
Yeah, and we had a nice one that was called back, and you know, so we're getting closer. I feel like definitely.
Bob, do you have discussions? It seems Baker's taking some hits. I mean, he's getting. I think you're sacked more now than you were all of last year, and he's running quite a bit. Is that a concern to you?
Well, again, I don't. It's always a concern. You don't want your quarterback to ever be hit. But if they're going to blitz as much as they did the other day, two things. You know, a couple instances. He knows we don't have enough people there to block him. He's got to get rid of the ball. So some of it's on him, and the other part, you know, with his scrambling and moving around, you know, it's going to happen on occasion. You just got to try and limit it.
Is there any type of special emphasis that the officials are putting on return game, you know, penalties this year? Because it seems like that's something that's bitten you guys quite a bit so far.
No, I don't. Not that I know of, you know. But it's we're really good again. Punt return once again was a big factor, and yeah, that was an odd, you know, and our guys were too close together. You know, we're not holding hands or intentionally forming a wedge. It just kind of happened, and it hasn't. It's not what we teach, and they just got a little closer than they usually do, and they thought said it was a wedge, and it was. So we just got to be better at that. But the blocks were still good, and still had a good return out of it. But you know, we just got to pay attention to our spacing on it.
What were your thoughts of the offensive line play?
It was okay. It was pretty good. Guys that were, you know, noted as having really good games. Orlando Brown and Derek Forniak. It's great to see Derek have a good day in there. But again, those are guys that I think will continue to improve. Again, some of the pressure, you know, was on Baker. Ball should have been he should have gotten rid of the ball. some of it can be better, But again, the way they junk up and come after you, even on the run game, you're gonna have some troubles. But then you've got to be able to pop it once in a while. We popped it once with Joe, but I believe, I still believe we can run it better, and I believe as we go, we will.
Bill was telling us that, there wasn't a discussion. He just told Derek, hey, get in there and play guard, and didn't ask him if he wanted to do it. I'm curious, are you a little surprised somebody that tall is able to get in there and bend that well and be a guard like that?
No, Derek's, has a, he's huge, but he's got a lot of flexibility and agility to him, so I'm not really surprised.
Jordan Evans had a really good game on Saturday. Could you talk about how important he is to this defense?
Yeah, Jordan's been playing really well. He's smart, really understands and gets to the ball. He's great in coverage on top of, being a run stopper, and, is really taking more of a leadership role on, more and more this year. So he's played really well.
Samaje's been starting slow, but then finishing really strong. Why the slow starts, and then why has he been such a...
Again, I think more than anything, it's just, it's the run lanes and is how much the defense is giving you opportunity to run the football.
Zach and Sterling mentioned that they've kept in touch with Coach Norvell a little bit. What kind of relationship do you have with him now that he's at Texas?
I'm always for him. I have a same relationship I've always had with him. Jay, even before we worked together, was always a friend, and still, still remain that way. So I'm not like we're talking every week. But I never did call him every week. So I wish him the absolute best, and happy for him that he's in that position with that opportunity.
It's looking to be weird seeing him on the other sideline in orange.
Oh, always a little bit, but after 17 years, I've got a lot of guys on the other side anymore that I've run into or have to play against.
Any concerns about his knowledge of personnel tendencies, or you just go out and play football Saturday?
Yeah, not really. We're all, aware of each other's personnel when you play someone every year, and you recruit, a lot of the same guys. That's I don't think there's a whole lot of surprises there or insider information.
How important could a game like Saturday be for someone like Quick?
Hopefully it'll be a spark for Micaiah. He made some, 2 really nice competitive catches and a few and one other. So anyway, hopefully it'll be a really good boost for him, and because he has a lot of potential and for those kind of plays, and hopefully we'll see more of them.
Bob, what do you think of the notion that the Big 12 is better when Oklahoma and Texas are both powerful teams at the top of the conference, just because of the brand recognition and the tradition of those two programs?
I don't look at anybody else's program but ours, and we've over 16 years, I think 12 of 15 years, we've had 10 or more wins, so we've been fairly consistent. If you're asking me about us, that's where we are, but you always want more.
What's your cell phone policy in the
I didn't have one until this week, so that's something that'll be addressed.
Sterling said he thought that if you saw him, you'd break it in half. Is that accurate?
It's probably a fair assessment. Yep.
How difficult is it to control social media with your players?
I don't try to. I don't. To me, what matters to me is one, if you're sitting there reading comments from all these other fans and other schools, to me it's foolish. But I'm not calling anybody. If that's what you need, whatever, have at it. But the other is, long as the information you're putting out from your phone is your personal information, not team information, or anything about the team or associated with us, because then it's just like you just held your own press conference. So that part of it's off limits. If you want to tell everybody you're at the grocery store picking up Twinkies, have at it. I don't, but if you're telling them what's happening in our building, now it's a problem, and you won't be using it then if you can't do it the right way.
What is your cell phone policy now?
I don't have one. But if you want to play here, you won't be on it during before a game or when we enter the locker room to play a game, and we come in at halftime and we're doing our business trying to win games. If that's more important to you, you could be on it all day for all I know and have at it and go somewhere else and do it.
Is that even logistically possible? Where you're at right now, could a guy come in off the field at halftime and go into his locker room, pick up his phone?
Well, we don't collect the
you guys are
phones.
having meetings?
Sure, it could. Well, we don't collect the phones. I mean,
It's like you'd have a meeting somewhere
well, we
else.
do have meetings, but there's times too where it's not the whole entire time.
How close do you guys monitor social media, and who does that?
Our compliance office does. Do I?
Yeah.
Absolutely not. I got a lot more to do than that. That's be impossible for me.
If somebody tells you about one of your players on social media, it's not a good thing.
I haven't had really much of an issue, but here and there. But
You haven't had a ton of soap opera around your program over 16 years, but when you have had, what kind of effect does that have on a team in the middle of the season? A lot going on at Texas, changing coaching staff, a lot of talk about the problems, the stuff with the cell phone. Just seems like every week it's something new down there. Does that wear on a team?
I don't know. Again, I'm not much on commenting on other teams. So that wouldn't make I wouldn't know. That's not where I am.
But when you've had whatever issues like that here, not that.
Well, I don't know.
Mirror,
You could ask me about a specific issue we've had. I'm not sure what you're asking. As you said, we haven't had. I'm trying to think of what you would be referring to with us.
Could be a player's eligibility. Could be a.
Well, again, a lot of most of this stuff, anything that we've had is primarily or usually been out of season. So.
Jazz Reynolds came to mind as an example. When
Maybe
that
like
happened-
Mike Balligan or
Yeah, there's another one with the NCAA.
Ronnie Lewis.
Yeah, I don't. Those weren't that big an issue, really.
You remember your first OU Texas week and any nerves that you might have had beforehand?
No. No different than I've been doing this a long time, so no, nothing different.
Has it gotten to the point where you almost expect shootouts every week? I was looking here and seeing that Texas Tech game with 530 yards passing, 600 plus yards overall, and got blown out. I mean, is that just kind of the way it's going now?
Not every week, but sometimes it's that way.
Bob, when most people think of rivalry games, they think they're elevated ahead of the other games during the year. It seems like coaches have done a lot to try to level that off over the last 3 or so years.
I'm sorry.
Just to know you play a 13-game schedule.
Well, that's what everyone wants. Like, you're going to do something different for the rivalry week, which then tells your players that this game's more important than the one before it and after it. And around here, let's face it, beating Texas, and everyone used to say you'll just beat Texas. Well, that doesn't go. We beat them last year. I didn't hear anyone patting us on the back after the season about, well, at least you beat Texas, right? So the only way to win them all or to keep winning is you do the same things every week. They're all important, and they are. So for players, coaches, we have the same routine. You put the same importance on every single one of them. To me, it's the only way you can have consistent play through the year, and because you have to win them all.
Is that something you learned as an assistant coach coming up? I mean, I think of Florida, the big game of Florida State at the end of the year, maybe Georgia, things like that.
Yeah, but again, at Florida, we were expected to win them all. So the only way to do that would be to invest in every one of them is with all you have, and that's what we try to do. With Coach Spurrier there at Florida, it was that way.
Last year there was some problems with the safety play. How do the safeties play this year?
They're playing really well. Stephen Parker's been exceptional. Ahmad's been really good too, and Tari's gotten a lot better. He's making more plays, and so those guys have made a lot of good improvement.
Zach Sanchez seems to have been tested a little bit more early in the season than he was at various points last year. Does that speak to how much better the secondary's playing as a whole, that they go after him a little bit more at least this year?
I don't know if it's that or it's just that they've got to throw the ball somewhere, and I wouldn't say that our safeties are scaring them away and they're going out there. You know what I mean? It's just how it's happened. I think the offensive calls.
Bob, was the hit on Westbrook? Did you have any comment on whether you felt like that was a missed targeting call or not?
You know, I'll wait and hear. You know, we'll turn it in. But someone sent me a still shot that looks like his helmet's down below his chin. You know, down on his shoulder. The still shot that was sent to me. So, I mean, if that's the case, then it wasn't. You know, so we'll see.
It seemed like last year, once they erased that 15-yard or took away the 15-yard penalty, if it wasn't targeting, that they were more apt to kind of call it.
And then look at it. Yeah.
You feel like that's gone away a little bit?
No, it seems like they usually do it that way, and maybe you know, all of them saw it like it appeared in that still shot I saw. It is below his head, so I don't know how you know, when the heads then react to the collision, how that, you know, equates with it. But I'll wait and hear, you know, from them.
Bob, do you see anything with what Jay's trying to do with Texas that he implemented here or wanted to implement? I know he wasn't the coordinator, but what do you see?
Yeah, but there's some similarities, sure, in some of the run game and passing game. There's some carryover that's you know, some of the things that were done here.
After the game Saturday, Bob, Jordan, Thomas talked about missing the TU game, the Tulsa game, and having to watch it sort of in isolation, and how that was an eye-opener for him. Sometimes it takes something that serious to get a guy to figure out that now's the time to start doing things the responsible or right way. Are you convinced that he's figured that out from something like that?
Well, I'm convinced for 2 weeks now, but you know, we'll see if he can continue, you know, with the right, you know, level of importance of what we're doing.
You ever had a guy you suspend 1 week and then hand him a game ball next week?
Nope.
How good's he, Bob?
Jordan has a chance to be really good. You know, he's young, he's learning. He should only get better, but he's got speed, he's got range. He's bigger than you think, and you know, and now he's gaining more and more experience. So I expect him to continue to, you know, to improve and to really be good.
Bob, in the old days, Mike used to dismiss the idea of assigning a defender to stay with the quarterback in scrambling situations. Texas' best play this year, I think, is heard in the open field, scrambling. Have you changed your philosophy on that? Do you spend,
Yeah,
do you put a linebacker more with a guy now?
Yeah, that's actually when you have a three-man rush. We have in the last few years had a guy that would let the front guys rush, and he would just wrap around them and try and work his way to the quarterback. And that's something that we have done actually, you know, in the last few years, as I said. So that's something that's a possibility. It's not real viable when you're rushing four. If you have four down linemen, you got to use the rest of your people to cover. But you know, when you're in your zone concepts, everybody has their head back, you know, looking to the quarterback, ready to squeeze back to him. All right.